Hello everyone, welcome back to my class. Today we are going to teach you about some of the skills that every teacher should have. But before we proceed to the presentation, let us watch a trailer about a movie named Hiki.
Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum. The trailer that you guys have been seeing just now is a movie titled Hitchki. Hitchki is a story about a woman who turns her most daunting weaknesses into her biggest strength. Naina Mathur is an aspiring teacher who suffers from Tourette syndrome. After several interviews and numerous rejections, she lands for her dream job as a full-time teacher in one of the most elite schools in the city. However, she soon realized that the class she had been assigned comprises out of trouble. Naina's class has only 14 students and they come from lesser privileged background. The school has admitted them only because of the right to education law. Despite a few initial hiccups, Naina do whatever she can to ensure that the students realize their true potential and defy all the odds against them. So now I will start my presentation, which is communication skill. In the movie, we can relate a lot about communication skill. So my name is Wana Suhada binti Sukri. I will be the first presenter. Okay, let's move to the first slide, which is definitions of communication skill. According to ATTRIBUTION 2018, communication skill is the ability to convey and share information with others in an efficacious way. It is a very vital skill and used widely in work sector. Communication can make or break your relationship at work or home. We can communicate with our body, words, gesture, expression, and much more. Okay, as you guys know, in our daily life, we need to communicate with other people, right? So, the most important thing, we need to have communication skills in order for us to get with other people in efficacious way. There are several types of communication skill. It is include verbal communication, non-verbal communication, and visual communication. For verbal communication, the use of words is done. It is a one-to-one type of interaction or sometimes more than two. For example, as we can know, the verbal communication includes speeches, public speaking, debate, presentation, and etc. Okay, for the non-verbal communication, gestures are used to share information like facial expression, hand gesture, specifically saying body language. Okay, when we eye contact with other people, the language of eye is also non-verbal communication. Okay, the third one is visual communication. This type of communication uses signs, drawing, design, etc. to convey and share information with others. Okay, some people will write or draw their feelings to communicate with other people. So that is the visual communication. Okay, next is importance of communication skill for teachers. So why communication skill is important for teachers. Okay, the first one is to determine their personal communication styles. A good teacher will always show compassion and care toward their students. With words or body language, they work with the student to ensure they excel in whatever they do and continuously encourage them to do better. So it is important for a teacher to have their personal communication styles. The second one is to work effectively with various communication style. Different students have different type of approach need to be applied. So teacher will work effectively in a various communication style to engage with the students. Okay, the third one is to listen effectively to ensure that they receive message as intended. A teacher needs to have a good listening skill to know where her or his student stand and what is his or her needs to focus on. Okay, the fourth is identify barriers to communication and strategies to overcome them. Okay, for example, in the Hitchcock movie, we can see there is a teacher who always looked down to Naina. However, Naina did her best to prove to the teacher that what he said was wrong. Okay. The last one is to develop strategies for building trust. Okay, for example, a parents would like to hear the truth, but how a teacher say it means a lot. Positive feedback to the parents give them confidence to do better, but at the same time, a teacher share negative feedback is where a teacher's communication skill get tested. So it is important for a teacher to develop strategies to building trust. Okay, next we discuss the characteristic of an effective communication for teachers. Okay, the first one is at the bottom left. Okay, it is the first one is listening skills. A teacher need to listen well when your student give opinion. So as a teacher, for effective communication, we need to have a good listening skill. Okay, the second one is use body language. The sign and signals of teacher's body always send message to the student. So when we stand in front of the class, the body language is a very important to send message for the student. Okay, the third one is be confident. When teachers are confident, it is easy for students to trust and to rely on teacher. So basically, whatever we tell the student or we teach the student will take it serious and believe it. So as a teacher, we need to study and be confident whenever we deliver the content. Okay, next is be clear and concise. Okay, do not use long sentences that are difficult to understand and stick to the main point. Okay, as a teacher, we need to when we deliver the content, we need to stick our main point. This is because when we talk too long and out of the topic, this student will lose focus and will play during our class. So they will not get what we going to teach them. Okay, next is be positive and patient. The positive attitude has a huge power for successful relationship between teacher and student. Okay, so as a teacher also we need to have a positive attitude, because when we have a good attitude and positive attitude and patient, our student also will have a positive attitude during class. Okay, next is be respectful. People love to see someone respect their effort, opinions and ability. Speak politely to everyone. Okay, so every student like when we respect what they are doing and their ability. So as a teacher we need to know how to respect students and talk politely with them. Okay, lastly is feedback. Giving feedback show that the teacher is not just a passive listener. So when our student give opinions, we need to give a positive feedback to them so that they will more semangat to give opinions. Okay, this all is the characteristic of effective communication for teacher. So when we have this characteristic in our communication, it is good as a teacher. Before we continue discuss barriers to effective communication, let's see short scene from HK movie. From the movie, we can see the barriers that need to cope by Naina and her students. Okay, the barriers in communication basically have three types. The first one is barriers involving words. It is include language, disorganized message, ambiguity and overuse of abstraction, and information overload. For barriers involving people's background, attitudinal difference, demographic differences, lack of common experience or perspective, and jump into conclusion. This all is included in barriers involving people's background. Okay, lastly is physical barriers. It is include attitudinal differences, demographic differences, lack of common experience or perspective. As a teacher, poor communication is the main reason why students lack motivation, perform badly, and consequently drop out of school. According to many studies, success of students is directly related to effective communication of their teacher. So we need for a real teacher or future teachers, we need to avoid from having barriers in communication. So how to apply or establish the effective communication in the classroom? There are 5 ways to establish effective communication in the classroom. The first one is create a safe environment. Create a safe and supportive environment where students feel comfortable to open up and express their truths and ideas. An atmosphere that allows students to ask if they need help is crucial to their academic success. It is important that you as a teacher nurture this kind of non-judgmental environment. Second one is more teamwork. Doing more team activity and group work is a great way to take the focus off competing with one another and concentrate more on working together to get the best result. It encourages communication, cooperation, and collaboration, and also help the student talk more and effectively express themselves with their peers. The third one is do not stand at front of the class. Moving around the class and getting involved with the student will create less student-teacher feel. By moving away from the front of the class and joining them either at their desk to discuss ideas and getting involved in the small discussion will help them feel more comfortable and more likely to open up. Number 4 is active listening. Listen to hear your student, not just to respond and give an answer. Sometimes just lend an ear can be extremely useful in promoting a supportive and caring environment. Listening to your student enable you to provide a better assistance and consequently a better education. Number 5 and lastly is positive feedback. Often teachers forget to mention when a student has performed well and instead focus on the negative aspects such as bad behavior. This can have a significant effect and demoralize students. It has been shown that the students that receive praise are more likely to believe that they can accomplish tasks and be successful. It also can help to build a student confidence, create a good rapport and supportive environment. Okay, that's 5 ways to establish effective communication in the classroom. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Wan Suhada, for the great explanation. Hi everyone, my name is Nora Malina binti Muhammad Shofi, and I am going to continue the presentation with another subtopic, that is interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills. Shall we pronounce it together? Interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills. Good job! Alright, interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills might sound almost the same, but they are actually carry 2 different meanings. So in this subtopic, I'm going to show to you guys about the definition of interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills, and then we are going to look into some of the examples and what are the factors that can influence our interpersonal skills and intrapersonal skills, and then we will look into how can we as a teacher improve our inter and intrapersonal skills. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so now we are going to start with interpersonal skill first. Interpersonal skills first. Pay attention, okay? So by definition, interpersonal skills can be defined as the skills that a person need to have in order for them to be able to effectively communicate with someone. So in educational setting, it means that the skills that teachers must have in order for them to be able to communicate with the students effectively, or maybe with the administrator or even the colleagues. When we talk about interpersonal skills, there are many examples, okay? But I'm going to highlight on these 3 examples on the screen because I believe that these 3 examples are some of the skills that every teacher should have. So the examples are conflict management, active listening, and empathy. Okay, so the three examples are conflict management, active listening, and empathy. Good one. Conflict management. Conflicts can act like a time bomb. It can either help to nurture your relationship with your students, or it can also destroy the relationship. So these conflict management skills will help you to identify the root causes of the problems so that you will be able to find the best solutions in order for you to resolve the issues that are happening in your class. As a teacher, it is always best for us to solve the conflict rather than waiting for it to the extent that there is nothing you can do anymore. Okay? But you also have to remember that in order for us to solve the issue, it takes a lot of patience, a lot of calmness, and a lot of discussion between you and the students, so that whatever decision that you make, okay, it will be a win-win situation, so that the students will not feel like you are being biased towards one of them. Okay. Next one is active listening. So active listening, in my opinion, it is a very basic interpersonal skills that everyone should have, including us as teachers. This is because when you listen actively to your students, regardless of the issues that they brought up, you are showing them that their concerns about certain issues are not being taken lightly. So this will make the students feel more comfortable to open up to you. This is because they know that whenever they are in need of someone, okay, they will always have you. You will always be there for them to vent out their feelings and problems. You know, sometimes people, whenever they are sharing with you their problems, they are not really asking for you to give solutions to the problem, but they just want you to be there to listen to their problems, listen to their concerns without you judging them. Okay? But the question is, how can you, as a teacher, actively listen to your students? Can you think about it? So these are some of the ways that you can show to your students you are actively listening to them. Sometimes listening actively doesn't mean that you need to respond verbally to the situation. You know, you don't really have to give them solutions, but you can just simply do something like, oh really? Oh, that is interesting. Oh, so what do you think about the situation? You know, as simple as that. Second one is, please make eye contact. And the last example for interpersonal skill is empathy. What is empathy? Can you define it? Empathy refers to the ability for us to understand and share the feelings of others. Just like how you understand the feelings of your boyfriends or your girlfriends, that is how you should understand the feelings of your students. Okay? I know that most of you guys have watched the Hiki movie. So in the movie, you can actually see that some of the students are very naughty and very aggressive. So imagine what will happen if us as teachers do not have empathy in ourselves. So we might end up saying something like, "You are not going to be anywhere with this kind of attitude." You know, typical Asian teachers. Well, I am sorry to tell you this, but this reaction does not acknowledge the feeling or the challenges that may cause the students to behave in certain ways. What you should do is try to find a way to understand what the students are feeling. If the student decided to open up to you, you may want to ask them how can you help them to become a better person or to change themselves. So this will likely give students the assurance that everyone is important. Right, before we proceed with another subtopic that is intrapersonal skills, let's recap the examples of interpersonal skills. Okay, so the examples of interpersonal skills are active listening, okay, and the second one is empathy and conflict management. Good job. Now let's proceed with the intrapersonal skills. Okay, intrapersonal skills can be defined as the skills on how we control our inner process and our internal attitudes. The keyword here is inner process and internal attitudes. Okay, intra means inner, dalam. Apa yang ada dalam otak kita, apa yang ada dalam hati kita, that is all related to intrapersonal skills. Some of the examples for intrapersonal skills are knowing yourself, okay, and the second one is critical thinking, and the third one is creative thinking. Knowing self. Do you know that it is important for us teachers to identify what are the weaknesses and what are the strengths that we have in ourselves? This is because when we know what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses in ourselves, it will give us better understanding on how we can function in our classroom. Okay, for example, I acknowledge that I have slow voice. Okay, so I know that is my weaknesses. So I have to find ways to improve myself. I can buy microphone or I can buy headpiece mic to be used when I am teaching. So when I know what are the things that are holding me back from achieving my goals, okay, so I will be able to find the solution to help myself to become a better teacher, so that my students will be able to get the best quality of lessons from me. Okay, I know that most of the times we heard that people telling us it is important for us on to focus on the strengths only, but I personally believe that we as teachers, we need to focus on both. This is because these both weaknesses and strengths, it will contribute to our professional development. The next example is creative thinking. Creative means we do something differently. Okay, and being creative is not only limited to arts. You can also become a creative teacher even if you are teaching science, even if you are conducting an experiment. For example, you want to teach about acids and base. So you don't really have to depend on the pH paper or pH meter, hydrochloric acid, sodium hydroxide. You can simply use anything from your kitchens, from vinegar, lemon, to soda bicarbonate, to what else? Purple cabbage as pH indicator or what more. Okay, the key here is to become creative. This is because students love unique ideas, especially the young ones. The last example for intrapersonal skill is critical thinking. So critical thinking will help to develop creative solutions to a problem. Okay, it is very helpful when the teachers need to think out of the box. You know, sometimes we have our unlucky days. So even if we have our lesson plans, there are days that we could not conduct the lesson as we wanted it to be. Okay, so this is where your critical thinking will help you during unexpected circumstances. Okay, now we are going to look into what are the factors that can affect our intrapersonal skills and interpersonal skills. Okay, so the first factor is perspective. perspective refers to the beliefs that we hold to in our lives. So each one of us, we have our own perspectives. Your perspective will not always be the same as my perspective, okay? This is because this perspective, this belief that we hold to can be influenced by our culture, our socio-economic background, our educational background. So it will reflect on our perspective. And this perspective, it will influence how we think and how we respond to the situation. Okay? So remember, there's a song like that says, jika kau fikirkan kau boleh, kau pasti boleh melakukan. So that is the same as definition as perspective. So if you think that you can do it, you will be able to do it. Okay? If you think you are a failure, then you are going to be a failure. Okay? So make sure you feed your mind with positive thinking. And the last factor is self-esteem. Okay? Self-esteem refers to the person who we think we are, formed in our belief and attitudes. This means that self-esteem has correlation with our perspective. So if we think we can do something, we definitely can do it, okay? Because we have self-esteem. And it is important for you to know that our self-esteem is also influenced by how others see us. So that is why it is important for us to surround ourselves with positive people, so that the positive energy will come to us and it will influence our self-esteem, which will reflect through our intrapersonal skills and interpersonal skills. Okay, up to this point, we have already covered about intrapersonal skills and interpersonal skills. We also have covered about the factors that can influence these two skills. But now the question is, what we as teachers can do to improve the quality of our intrapersonal skills and interpersonal skills. This is because professional development is a continuous process. So you have to keep on improving yourself. Okay? So the first step that you can do is find your strengths and your weaknesses. This is because when you know your strengths and your weaknesses, you will certainly be able to overcome any barriers. This is because you know what are the things that can encourage you to perform better and what are the things that can hold you from achieving your dreams. Okay? The second one is participate in any outside activities. When you join activities outside of the school, you will meet a lot of people. Okay? So these people will come from different background of education, different career background. So you will get the chance to know them and to change your ideas, and it will help to broaden your horizon. Okay? It will help you to see the world in another perspective because you meet a lot of people. And last but not least is, don't forget to read books on personality development. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurliana binti Mat Isa. Now it's my turn to present to all of you about presentation skills. What are we waiting for? Let's go. Okay, my friends. According to Zakaria, a professional development is the key to determining factor toward improved student performance. This is because an effective teacher is an excellent communicator and therefore think about how to improve his or her presentation skills. One of the important aspects of communicating is shaping both content and also styles. In the classroom, if you cannot communicate in a way that is both comprehensible and interesting to your student, their learning will be greatly reduced. Okay, my friend, there is 5 framework under presentation skill. The first one is readiness, audibility, pitch and articulation, gesture and movement, and the last one is effective use of visual aid. First, let's go to the first point, which is readiness. When we talk about presentation, readiness is the most important aspect that we need to focus on. Under readiness, there is 4 main points. The first one is prepare. Okay, when we say about prepare, a preparation is very essential. All excellent teachers are well prepared for each class. Based from the scene you have watched, that teacher teach student from the last class. And as you can see, that teacher are really well prepared to teach the student. As we know, we can see that teacher are really prepared to teach her student. Because of what? Because she know that she going to teach student from the class. As you can see, different type of student need different kind of approach, and that teacher have applied another approach to grab her student attention to focus inside her class. That show that she is really prepared to teach her student. Second one is planning. You need to know what are you going to teach inside your class. Do not read any notes and do not read any slide in front of you. Because of what? Because it shows that you are not really prepared to teach your students. And from here, we can see that you are not fully understand on what you are going to teach your student. And it will let your student to feel less engaged because your student know that you are not really ready to teach them. The third point is interaction. Make an eye contact. Eye contact is really important. Build a rapport between you and your student. As you can see from that scene, that teacher built a very good rapport. From that, she can grab her student attention to focus inside her class. And if you think that your students are lost, add additional time to explain back the important point to your student and do ask and question session so that your student fully understand on what you're going to deliver to them. And the fourth one is confident. You can use the whole classroom. Use the whole classroom as a stage. Move around. Make engagement with them. Interact with your student. Do not just stand in one place only. Because in that case, you will make your student feel more boring inside your class. Because of what? Because less of engagement between you and them. That's why move around, show your confidence in your teaching. From that, your student know that you are really ready to teach them. That is the point under readiness. Let's go to the second point. Okay, my friend, the second point under presentation skill is audibility. When we say audibility, it's linked together with audio. When we say about audio, it's more about your voice. Yes, voice is very important aspect under presentation skill. First, you need to project your voice and face your audience when you are speaking so that your students or your audience will focus on what you are going to deliver to them. The second one is speak slightly louder than you do in a normal conversations. You cannot talk like in your normal conversation, such as, oh, how are you today? Yeah, I'm okay, fine, thank you. And you? No, not like that. When you do a presentation, speak slightly louder and clear. How are you today, everyone? like that. Yes, that's the second point. The third point is you have to increase your volume when you in a full lecture hall, because a mass of student body tend to absorb volume. Yes, this is correct. If you inside a lecture hall or inside a class that are full with a student, make sure that your voice is loud enough so that the student at the back can hear you clearly as a student at the front. That's the important aspect. And the fourth point is problem with audacity sometimes will affect the articulation of words. Yes, somehow if you are not speak clearly, it will affect your articulation of your words, and this will make your student confused and did not understand on what are you going to deliver. That's why voice is very important. Know your audience, know your target, speak clearly. That's the point under audibility. Let's go to the third point under presentation skill, which is pitch and articulations. Okay, what can we understand about pitch and articulation? First, do not speak in monotone. Okay, do you know what is mean by monotone? Monotone means a same tone. Okay, everyone, how are you today? Okay, focus. I will teach you about chemical bond. Okay, turn to page. That is what we call as monotone. It's totally wrong. Play with intonation of pitching so that this is one of the method to grab your student attention on what you are going to teach them. Okay, what is it? Do not speak in monotone. Monotone. The second one is be aware that nervousness can cause people to speak too quickly. Yes, this is because most of anxiety people, when they are nervous, they are tend to speak fast. Such as, okay everyone, I will teach you chemical bond, focus. Okay, that is totally wrong. Try to control your own self and try to maintain your nervous inside your class so that it not cause you to speak too quickly, because when you speak too quickly, your student will not understand on what you are going to teach and they will not focus inside your class. The third point is modulate the speed of your speech, and the fourth and the last one is attempt to pronounce word correctly. Okay, my friends, let's move on to the next point under presentation skill, which is gesture and movement. Under gesture and movement, there is 4 points. Let's discuss it together. The first point is a teacher need to avoid gestures that are repetitive because it's likely to distract students to stay focused. Okay, my friends, when we say about gestures that are repetitive, like how, if you can remember, try to flash back. If you remember during your school time, somehow you will find a teacher that like to tap the table while talking to you. For your information, I don't like you to like that. They like to tap the table or play with their pen like this, or play with their shoes, tapping their shoes, thump, 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 or maybe like to, yes, that is a kind of repetitive gesture. When you do a repetitive gesture, it will attract your student attention toward your gesture, not toward the information that you want to deliver. That's why repetitive gesture is very wrong, and it will make they did not understand what they learn inside the class. Yes, try to avoid repetitive gesture. Make it limit. That's the first one. Let's move on to the second one. Keep your movement simple. Yes, it's linked with the first point. Keep your movement simple because when you move too obviously, your student will not focus to you. Just show a small gesture to make you relax during your class. That's the second point. Let's move on to the third point, which is use facial expression to bring your teaching and learning environment alive. Try to use facial expression to deliver the content to your student. For example, let's imagine you an English teacher and you're going to teach literature inside your class. And then you use facial expression to teach your student. Of course, the class will become more interesting because of what? Because you use your facial expression. Okay, everyone. Let's say one brief candle. Let's imagine you're an English teacher and you're going to teach literature inside your class. And you use facial expression in deliver your content. Like what? Like life is just like a brief candle. When you blow the candle, my life become blank. Hi, Jekyll and me. Together we sing the Phantom of the Opera. Like that, when you use facial expressions and also intonations, it will make your teaching session become more interesting and more alive. Other than using facial expression, you can use your creativity such as singing. Let's say you're a mathematics teacher and you're going to teach additions, multiplication, subtractions. You can make it into a song. Like what? Like 2 plus 2 is 4, minus 4 is quite quick math. Like that. You can make it into rap so that your student think that mathematics is actually fun because you can make it into a song. Yes, like that. Okay, and the last point is don't be afraid to smile because when you smile, it will bring comfort among your student. As you can remember, when you were a student, you will feel more comfortable with teachers that are more look like caring. As you can remember, when you are a student, you will be more comfortable with teachers that are really like to smile and really caring with you. From that, you can build an engagement with the student. And at the same time, when you have a problem, and at the same time, if you remember during your school, as you can remember, when you are a student, you will feel more comfortable to the teacher that really like to smile, that really care to you. You can share your own problem with your teacher because of what? Because of their expression, their gesture that really care. That's why we smile can bring comfort to your student. Okay, my friend, now is the last point under presentation skill, which is effective use of visual aids. Okay, when we talk about visual aids, there are two categories, which is the first one is using chalkboard and the second one is by using presentations. Okay, guys, let's go to the using chalkboard first. When you are using chalkboard, chalkboard, or nowadays there are no more chalkboard. We use whiteboard. When you're using whiteboard, make sure that you write legible and big enough that your writing can be seen in the back of the room. Okay, your writing, make sure it's clear enough so that your student can read your writing. By the class, remember there is a student that have a bad eyesight. Yes, somehow they can see your writing, but for the student that have bad eyesight, they have a problem to see the whiteboard clearly. Even though they are wearing their sunglasses or wearing the spectacles, if you did not write it clear and big, it will make it really hard for them to read and write. The second one, underline or mark major assumption, conclusion, or important point. Yes, somehow the student did not realize where is the main point that you writing on the whiteboard. That's why underline is very important so that the student or your student really aware about the key point that you want to deliver to them. So far okay, let's move on to the third point. The third point is use color to emphasize point. Okay, before the course start, determine which color are most visible in the back of the room. Okay, use color. Somehow, when you use variety color, it will attract your student to focus on the whiteboard and use different color of marker to emphasize which point is important. Like you write at the whiteboard using black marker pen, and there is a few of important point. So for that important point, you use maybe a purple marker pen so that your student knew which one is important point that they need to write inside their book. And make sure the marker that you choose is clear enough for the student at the back can see it clearly. Because somehow there's a marker pen that cannot be seen clearly inside the classroom, such as a green color marker pen, orange color marker pen. Try to avoid these two color marker pens. Now, let's look about how effective use of visual aids by using presentation. First point, design your visual with clarity and simplicity in mind. Remember, inside your class, there is a visual students that like about the visual part. So make sure your presentation can grab their attention to focus on your slide. And the second one, same like the effective use on whiteboard, which is use a pointer. Avoid make it into a paragraph words. Make it simple and precisely. And the third one, use single word or phrases. Because single word or phrases make it easy for them to understand. And the fourth one, organize the content visually. And lastly, design diagrams and tablets that are simple, clear, and with readily recognized symbol. And that is the effective use of visual aids. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So I'm going to present about the research skills and action research. First, we are going to present about research skills. Okay, what is the meaning of research? Meaning of research itself. Okay, the research is the systematic investigation and study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. So what is the meaning of research skills? It is referred to ability to search for, to locate, to extract, to organize data, evaluate and use or present information that is relevant to a particular topic. But apart from that, it is not just this skill that we will get while doing the research. We will get a lot of skills. For example, independence and courage. Okay, so while doing the research, okay, the skills that we will get is we will have a lot of opportunities to do the decisions making. So we tend to work independently, safely, and to make good decisions. So next is review existing work. Of course, in our research, for example, in our own academic assessment, we will review existing work for our literature review because it will support our topic, it will support our idea, and it is important to review existing work to lead our own research. Then after that is curiosity. Okay, for example, we tend to be curious when we do the research about STEM education. Okay, now we already know about what is the meaning of STEM education. After that, we're curious, what is the purpose of this STEM education? And then, what are the STEM education have achieved so far? Right? Okay. Now go for the passions. While doing the research, we will learn the skill to be patient. Okay, be patient to wait for the result to come out, because while doing the academic assessment or any other research, we will have a time frame to do that. So we being patient to do our own work, and then waiting for the result. Okay, after that is self-critical eye. Okay, we are able to find any single mistakes that happen, and we have the possibility to do the improvement and to correct the mistake that we have done. Okay, any single mistakes. Okay, after that is problem solving and adaptability. So problem solving is a skill referred to the ability to handle difficult situation, right? So while doing the research or our AE, we will have the problem solving skill. We tend to do the problem solving by our own self, by referring to our own supervisor and so on. Okay. Let's moving on to what is action research. Okay, what is actually action research? In education, action research is a form of research where teachers learn to improve their practices while improving to understanding of their practice. Okay, according to Johnson 2012, action research is the process of studying a school situation to understand and improve the quality of the educative process. So it is actually the meaning of action research for our own. How about yours? How about your understanding about action research? I remember back on our practical action research, it actually happened naturally sometimes because we never learn about what is action research. We just learn how to do experiment in class on either this method can be used to the student, either this method can be used to the student. So we are going to do it every time. I mean, like, do a different method every time. So it's actually one of the action research to improve the learning process. Okay. Purpose of the action research is very helpful for the teachers to deepen their understanding about teaching and learning. So while doing their teaching and learning, and they teach at the same time and learn at the same time. Learn how the students develop their attitude, how the student act, how the student can understand her. So, and how the students can react to any of their teaching, any of the teachers teaching. So it actually, when do a action research, it actually deepen the understanding of the teaching and learning itself. And then secondly is develop teaching skills and knowledge. So while doing the action research, of course, we will enhance our skill, teaching skills and our own knowledge. We will have a lot of skills about how to manage this kind of students, how to manage students from first class, how to manage students from middle class and last class, how to manage student which is very quiet in class, very hyper in class, and so on. Okay, third is try out different approaches and ideas. I believe any teachers or any practical students have done this in your class, because back then when we in our own class, back then in our university, we learned the theory. We learned the theory that taught by our lecturer, how to manage the students, what kind of method that we are going to use for students who are hyper or quiet or sometimes rude. So in class, in school, sometimes we cannot like using the theory because we are facing it in a real life. So what I did was, I heard from my friends, practical students also, how they manage their students like this. So when I heard from their experience, and sometimes it's usable for my class, but sometimes cannot. So we will use a lot of methods, try out a lot of ideas to do in our class. So then we actually gain some teaching skills, I guess, even we have less time in school, right? But I believe everyone have gained skills, teaching skills, approaches to using to use to manage students later on. So after that, develop reflective practice. So when you do the teaching, you reflect back. For example, our reflective journal. For example, you have done your action research, right, or experiments in class. So you reflect back in your reflective journal. Either the method that you are already used is useful or cannot be used, or sometimes need improvement. Okay, and then action research is very helpful to improve student learning. When you meet or when you know what is the suitable method, then of course it will help to improve student learning. It will have the effective learning in class. Moving on to the step in action research, we will have 5 steps, which is first, identifications of problem area. Like we do experiments in our laboratory, we first identify the problem area, but we did this experiment or action research in school or in classroom. First, we identify the problem area. For example, there is a problem about students have lack of group work. Sometimes it doesn't work when it doesn't very helpful when we give them work, we give them work in group. Sometimes it's not working, sometimes it's not effective. So when we are facing that, we already identify the problem there. Students have lack group working skills, something like that. So we collect and organize the data. How? When we are facing this kind of problem, we just put them in the group. For example, this is just an example, okay? We just put them in a group and then we identify which student is hyper, which student is very helpful, which student either they can divide their work accordingly, either they can communicate effectively with each other. Okay, so after that, after get the data, interpretations of the data. So after you have the data, you will plan what you will do to to make sure the students can have effective group work. So you plan and then you act. Act meaning you implement the planning that you have done. So after you implement, you will see back either the method that you use, the method that you implement in class, it is success, this make the group work effective or not. So again, reflect back. That is we call as reflections. Reflect back and then use another method. That's why it's being cycle over and over again. So reflect back and do another method or need improvement. And then after second cycle, do it again until you get the suitable method to be used in the group work in that class. But then sometimes this class method cannot be used for other class. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not working. Okay, as the movie that we have chosen for our presentations is Hitchkey or hiccups in English. So what is actually the action research that I get in this movie? First is understand the core of problem, which is first we have talked before, which is identify the problem, right? So here Naina is, as a teacher, understand the core of problem. Naina can empathize with the students and understand their strength. This enables her to channelize their strength towards academic and a better future. So here we know that Naina as a teacher observe when first she entered the class, she knows what is the problem in that class. Not just in one day, second day, third day, until she get all the insight of problem about the problem in that class. Okay, so here she knows what to do next. Okay, after that, know what is to be changed. Naina tried to know the students' point of view, what they face and wanted in life. She understood that they needed a person to lead them to succeed, while she realized her own true potential. So what she did was, she tried to understand every student in that class. She collect the data. She go to their house. She observe them from the class. She talks to them. So there she will get the idea on why this student acted like this. Why this student do something like this. Why they rebel. So after that, Naina as the teacher, the things that the method that she used is speak the language of the students. Okay, because the student in this class 9F is very noisy. They have their own types of speaking. They have their own language. I mean, not language, but the way they speak, the way they communicate with their friends. So Naina as a teacher tried to do the same thing, to be in their group. So she realized that teaching pattern used for 9A will not work for 9F, as they are a different breed altogether. They come from different types, or they come from different culture. 9F have different culture, 9A have different culture. So keeping in mind, she speaks the language of 9F and wins the trust of the student. Okay, another method that used by Naina is learning should be fun. Okay, so in this movie, she adopts a very unique way of teaching through fun. She makes sure she delivers the lesson that attracts student attention, keeps them entertaining, and keeps them excited. Because she realized that only theory will not yield good result, but blend together fun and theory to make better result, and she was right. Because the student slowly have the insight to have the motivations to study, because they feel happy, they feel excited about the method that used by their teacher. So this is all the action research in the movie. I guess there's still a lot, but this is what I see. So I guess that's all from me. Thank you.
Alright, thank you Salina. Sheshe. Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fatul Anwar bin Abdurrahim. I'm gonna proceed this presentation with the topic building a positive self-image. Okay, let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, the definition. Alright, for that, as you might imagine, self-image is related to what you see, what you look in the mirror. So, this morning, have you guys looked in the mirror? And say it. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest in the wall? Kot macam tu. Alright, that's me, of course. Okay, let's proceed. However, it goes much deeper than that. Self-image refers to how we see ourselves on a more global level, which is both internally and externally. Alright, so proceed with the definition of the self-image. Self-image is the idea, conception, or mental image that you guys have towards yourself. Alright. Okay, so Bailey defined it as a total subjective perception on oneself, including an image of one's body, an impression of one's personality, capabilities, and so on. Because we have a lot, Bailey thinks that a lot of things that could be taken into account for the self-image. Okay, so as a positive self-image is defined as having a good view of yourself. Okay, the highlights of having a good one, that is refers to the positive self-image. Okay, so let me ask you, as for now, do you guys having a good view towards yourself? Okay, so let's just proceed with the new slide, and I hope by the end of this topic you guys can catch the meanings of the self-image and also how to build a positive self-image in ourselves. Okay, in this topic we have two concepts in the self-concepts. Okay, the first one is the self-image versus self-concept. The second one is a self-image versus self-esteem. What are those? Okay, a self-image versus self-concept. Self-concept is defined as our self-identity, which consists of schema or organized collection of feelings and beliefs about ourselves that is defined by Bailey. Okay, and so self-concept is a more overarching construct compared to self-image, which is, if to conclude that the self-concept is much more deeper emphasized in ourself compared to self-image. Okay, because the self-concept involves on how do you see yourself, how do you think about yourself, and how do you feel about yourself. Alright, but then the self-image is one of the components that make up the self-concept. To put it in simple words, just think about the self-concept. It grabs the idea of having feelings about yourself, but then for the self-image only touch the surface about the idea. Okay, the next slide is about self-image versus self-esteem. Okay, the word self-esteem we commonly hear from others, right? Nak lagi when we ask our friend to tegur his crush, your friend's crush lah. So that person will be like, "Alah, I don't have any self-esteem to tegur her." So jokes. Alright. So though self-image seems to be a big contributing factor, but self-esteem emphasizes deeper than self-image. Okay, so self-esteem is defined as overall sense of respect for ourselves and involves how favorably or unfavorably we feel about ourselves. So the word respect there means like you acknowledge what you're lacking of, but then you don't need to you don't push yourself to be good what you are lacking of. All right, so and then it involves how favorably or unfavorably about with the feel about ourselves. Okay, that is like what you like about yourself and what you dislike about yourself. So the easiest concept, the self-image versus self-esteem, is viewed as a positive self-image can certainly influence self-esteem, and high self-esteem is likely to be accompanied by positive self-image, or it is caused by positive self-image. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So the next slide is about elements of self-image. We have 3 elements. So the first one is real self. It is the way a person perceives or thinks about him or herself. Okay, the real self is basically what others show you concerning your self-image. When others respond to us and share our beliefs about our perception, we take that feedback and adjust our self-image accordingly. Okay? For the second one is a looking glass self. Okay, the looking glass self is about the way a person interprets other perceptions or what he thinks others think of him or herself. Means like, what do you think about what other people surrounding thinking about you? Okay, so the looking glass self is about our perception of others' perception. In other words, tuning into how other people see us and perceive us, and comparing that to how we see ourselves. So the third one is ideal self. So ideal self refers to the way we would like to be seen. This image might be very different from our self-image. The ideal self persona acts as a sort of stimulus that can motivate us to engage in activities that can bring us closer to our ideal self. Okay, so far so good everyone. I hope you guys not sleeping behind the camera, or if you guys feel sleepy, you guys may eat or drink or do some exercise, stretching your bodies. Alright. Okay, the next slide we're going to talk about the example of positive self-image. Okay, the first one is viewing yourself as an attractive and desirable person. So viewing yourself as an attractive person, what is like to be an attractive person? Maybe you have that look that can gauge the other people, or maybe you have the aura, the charismatic aura whenever you enter the buildings. Okay, so that is how you need to view yourself. Okay, so the next one is accept challenges as opportunities to grow. Okay, and to accept these challenges, this is not so easy, I know, but we need to cope as we need to grow more matured. Okay, just like in our cases now, we have ODL class. So at first we may be like, oh, I don't get used to the IT stuff, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. But we need to cope with the ODL, because otherwise we're not going to save our planet. Oh, what planet? Otherwise we're not going to flatten the curve, or maybe get rid of the coronavirus. Okay, so we accept it as a challenge. We learn how to use this IT, we learn how to use this application, we learn how to edit this video. So that is accept challenges as the opportunities to grow. Okay, the next one is trusting that you are at least somewhat close to your ideal version of yourself. So let me ask you guys, do you have any ideal version of yourself? Means like you want to be somewhat very good in delivering a speech, maybe good at saving money, maybe a good at a lot of things that you guys have any idea about yourself. So this one is to put trust that you are almost there, to make sure that you always keep pushing yourself towards to the goals or the ideal version of yourself. Okay, the next is value other people. So we know that some people are selfish, okay, but that is not a good behavior. So for to build a positive self-image, first you need to value other people surrounding you. How to value them? Maybe just a little bit thanks to them because they make ourselves to feel better. Okay, so the next is you don't allow yourself to be manipulated. You are control on yourself. You put a control to yourself. Okay, you tell yourself this is you, this is me, no one can control me. So this I'm the one who in charge with of myself. I am in charge to myself. Yeah, gitu. So you don't need people to manipulate it. You don't need people to talk to you, or you don't need people to determine for you. Like, do this, do that, or do like this, do like that. So how to like that? Okay, jokes. Okay, move to the next slide. The other examples of positive self-image. You don't dwell on the past. Past is in the past. Let it go, let it go. So yeah, past is in the past. Now we are in the future. We are in the current ourselves. So what we need to do, maybe we can take a look a bit on our past. Just make it as a pengajaran for us to move on. Okay, so the next one is act proactive and communicate clearly. So let me ask you, do you think that person that is not proactive in a working place, are they showing us a good sample of a good example of self-image? No, right? So to have a good or to have a positive self-image, the first, you need to be a proactive. Okay, you need always be prepared of what kind of situation that we're going to deal with, and also communicate clearly. Communication is the key. Okay, it doesn't have to be a good pronunciation, but clear communication means like, what do you want to deliver the content? Make sure that person going to get what the points you want to deliver. All right, okay, so far so good, everyone. So the next one is you find yourself doing different things to achieve balance. Okay, finding yourself doing different things, like maybe before this you don't get used to do sports. Okay, so because of doing this or the other, just sit in front of the laptop, in front of the phone for hours, so you might have back pain. So why not you guys exercise a bit? Okay, stretching there and stretching here to make sure that the back pain is relieved a bit. So like others think, maybe you want to try a new hobby like baking, or maybe cooking, or maybe doing arts. You know, nothing is impossible. Doesn't mean that you need to be you need to be Da Vinci to produce great artwork. All right, you don't need that. You just need to believe yourself to do new hobby or to try new things. Okay, let's proceed to the next one, which is able to recognize both positive and negative feelings and share them with others. Alright, sharing with others about your feelings is a sign of maturity. Okay, so the first one, able to recognize both positive and negative feelings. Alright, this one you really need to differentiate which one is positive, which one is negative feelings. So you don't need to you know how to separate them. And sharing them with others, you know, when we share a positive or negative positive or negative feelings that we that we had maybe this morning or maybe yesterday with someone maybe your girlfriend if you have one, or your boyfriend if you have one, or maybe your partners, your family, your parents. So sharing with them, be open a bit. So don't be hard to yourself keeping those problems up. Alright, so you just need to talk. This will make you feel better. So the last one is get into non-toxic circle. Okay, repeat after me. Get into non-toxic circle. So this, when you get into a toxic circle, these toxic people will drown your energy, your emotional, your physical, your spiritual. Okay. There will be these toxic people will always looking for looking for mistake or looking for something that they can judge. Alright, so whenever you meet these toxic people, just try to get away from these people. Okay, because you are worth more than that. You can get you can be friends with others much better than these toxic people. Alright, okay, moving on to the next slide. So the next slide is showing how to improve our self-image. Okay, the first one is stop the self-criticism. Alright, so yeah, I know we all criticize ourselves every once in a while, and some people criticize themselves a lot, but actually it is not good for our mental health. Okay, so if you find yourself criticize yourself a lot, please stop. Right, yeah, stopping the self-criticism is a great idea for a first step. Okay, so and then yeah, there's nothing good would ever came from criticizing yourself. So let's just praise yourself more instead of critiques yourself. Right, so the next one is smile in front of the mirror. Okay, what you need to do, just stand in front of the mirror and smile. Okay, by doing this simple thing as smiling at your reflection whenever you look in the mirror could help to boost your confidence. So this is a psychological act actually. Whenever you are going for an interview, or you are about to do a presentation, or you are about to go dating, so you look up into the mirror. You look into the mirror. Cantik ni aku. Like, who's that person? So beauty. Beauty inside out. Okay, let's focus. Okay, that is how you boost confidence, telling yourself you are beautiful, you are handsome, you are a lot of things. that a positive while looking at the mirror. It's really good, improves your confidence. Alright, so and then the next one is list 5 to 10 things that you love about yourself before sleeping. Okay, making a list and writing things down will help you take an inventory of all your best qualities. Okay, like maybe for my list, I would like to say like, I love my height, I love my smile, I love my cheeks, I love my eyes, I love a lot of things about me. Alright. I don't know yourself lah, so you do on your own. Okay, so let's just practice together to have a better self-image. Alright, so we move on to the next slide. Number 4, get a good night's sleep. Okay, this is a major big problems that occurs in the students. Yeah, I know. Because we student, not me, you people lah. Okay, students always do assignments at the late night. Okay, but somehow during that late night, our brains like boom, got a lot of ideas somehow lah. But then getting enough sleep actually helps you to feel refreshed and rejuvenated. Okay, so normal adults like us requires 7 to 8 hours of sleeping. Okay, so make sure you guys get enough sleep. Alright, so next is wear a good outfit. Yeah, wearing a good outfit can enhance your confidence level. You won't be shy out, so invest the time and effort in dressing up like me. So this is actually to how to boost your self-esteem, to be more confident to talk in front of the people. So that's why you need to wear a good outfit. Then never mind to find outfit for like hours, to go shopping, like, you know, taking long hours. Never mind, as long as it looks good on you and it boosts your confidence. Okay, so next one is place your best foot forward. Okay, this one is another good tip. Okay, this might mean putting place your best foot forward. Okay, the next one is place your best foot forward. Okay, this one is good tips. Alright, to improve your self-image. Okay, this might mean put on a little makeup, getting your hair styled, and also get yourself treated with something nice. Okay, this will help your self-image get a healthy boost. Okay, I'm asking you guys, how many of you put on your makeup even though it is ODL class? Okay, so for those who puts on makeup, kudos, you guys put really good effort. Okay, the next one is place your best foot forward. This one is another good tips. This might mean put on little makeup and getting your hair styled. Okay, maybe treat yourself with something good. I know a lot of students in Puncak Alam, they will go to SAM after they having a rough day or a long day with assignments, or maybe they just finished the first presentation of a first week. Then they just go, oh, let's go to SCM, we're having a rough day, let's shopping, like that. Yeah, treat yourself with something good. Okay, this will help your self-image get a healthy boost. Okay, next one is what's next? Oh, okay. Next how to improve our self-image is do things that interest you. It is never too late to try or discover a new hobby. Okay, as long as you are enjoying it, that's fine. You will feel more fulfilled rather than stuck in doing something that is monotonous and inspiring, like doing a same job over and over and over again, like repeating. You will get bored. So just try to be out of the zone, like doing some sports, like I mentioned just now, doing some sport, bakery, arts, a lot of things. Okay, there's a lot of things that you can try. Maybe you can go to fishing, you can go shopping. Okay, number 8, be authentic and be yourself. Please do not be fake or trying so hard to please people or to make sure that people will like you. No. Don't try to be like that. Okay, just be yourself. People will notice you. Like, Dr. Vida said, I am me. I am fun. A lot of time that she mentioned that I am me. That is to promote that you are yourself, no one else. So just be yourself because everyone is unique. So last one. Yeah, this is the last one. Let loose and have fun. Stop being hard on yourself. So you need to let loose, like enjoy a bit. Maybe hang out and laughing laughing with good people would seem a good idea. Maybe go some good places. Maybe you can go to beach, maybe to mall, or maybe you can go to the vacation. So until the next time, thank you very much for stay tuned with us. Yeah, bye.